welcome. We're back. Can you believe it's been 2 months since we've been running through this Congress with more and more people joining? And if you're just tuning in, thank you for being here. We love hearing from you. Thank you. This is my Café Conciencias moment. Café Conciencias. If you were around for the forum on research, Martin yourself a seat. It is Café Conciencias in Brazil, where many people stand with their poster images, drink cafe, and talk science. So let's do that today, and also let's bring this amazing event, kind of wrapping it up for this piece in the journey, and then continue the journey in other ways. Mark.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone around the world. My name is Mark Richard Muller. I'm the Executive Director of the Academy of Applied Myofunctional Sciences. In our little short history, about 6.5 years ago, we had our first meeting, our first scientific meeting in Rome. We've had about 20 meetings around the world. This is our 5th Congress, which means it has a membership focus. And as some people out there in the audience know, we were planning on having our 5th Congress in Paris the end of June of this year. And then in February, I was working in Europe a little bit, and I saw this coming wave, and I called an emergency board meeting, I think on the 26th of February. And I said, we have to change, we have to cancel our live meeting. Even though I loved the idea of the French Automobile Club, Place de la Concorde, having a gala at the Cercle Interallié.
Yeah.
Oh, extraordinary. The Gardens of Paris. I want to give a thanks to Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, which was very considerately offering to be a sponsor with some of their luxury brand lines like Moet and Chandon and Hennessy. And I was going to make a run at Ramova.
Well, we're going to look forward.
Anyway, so here we went. We pivoted. We're like, we're going virtual, baby. We've got to do something to reimagine what we're doing. And here we have Virtual Reimagined, the 5th AAMS Congress. And it's really been such an extraordinary event. Over 150 speakers now. We actually 175. We just did the math last night, preparing for a film today.
Wow.
During our closing ceremony. And
that's incredible.
Over 150 presentations. Our public-facing fora, 9 of them, have been seen collectively hundreds of thousands of times. We've had a couple million page views, and we just gave up counting in different, social media. And then we have until October 1st, because it's coming Thursday, our Congress is still going, active, full-blown, scheduled public interaction. And then we're going to pivot and convert on October the 2nd. For those who care to join our society, I think the entry membership level is $200. Unless you're a student, then it's like much lower. And you can enjoy the features and benefits of the Congress until December 31st, another full 3 months.
And I know a lot of you have been writing me personally saying, can we have extended time? I couldn't fit it in. There's so much that I want to see, and I've got to homeschool my kids, and I do this on weekends, and believe me, I relate. And all we want to say is please become a member. It's $200 annually, and we're going to bring more and more benefits to you. But the first benefit are these extended viewing access privileges, and you get all that time. And also, we are just going to announce officially, we have AGD CEUs available. If you think about all the time that you're able to rack up, there's a lot of benefits to extending the time, and you'll get AGD CEUs, and I'll explain how to do that at the end.
So this is our closing panel. We are officially closing the Congress today in terms of live content. What will carry forward into next month, November, December, beyond, are member activities, committee meetings. We've got so many robust activities, great white papers. We have work. We have 4 new scientific societies to announce during our closing ceremony, which will be black tie. There'll be a little wardrobe change, which will just be at the top of the next hour. So 10 a.m. Pacific time, Los Angeles, 1900 hours Paris, Central European time. We'll have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, 3 calls for action. We'll have the announcement of 4 new scientific societies and 1 foundation. And it'll be a lot of fun. It's a cocktail reception as well. So somewhere in the world, it's cocktail time. And so we will be celebrating that. But we have our panelists here today. As everyone can see, if you've looked at the artwork, and if you haven't seen this program, you can get it on our Facebook page, both in the Congress and public. And it has images of the modeling of the aortic valve dynamics. So heart opening and closing. So we'll have a closing ceremony, a closing panel discussion, and yet look at this Qigong heart just exploding behind these heads. Just like boom, heart's opening. We've hit a tipping point, people. This is exciting. So we invited on a select grouping of all-stars from the Congress representing, most of the tracks. And we're gonna just run through this very quickly. So we asked 3 questions of our panelists. What do we know? What did we learn, as in the course of this Congress? What did we learn? Where are we going? What is next? Where are we going? So if we could just, we're going to run through it in the order here. Patrice Bergeron is at a kids' party. He's going to be jumping in a little bit later in Switzerland. He's at a children's party in Geneva. So we're going to start with Giedre Berchin Felix, who is the recipient of our AAMS Hippocrates Gala Lifetime Achievement Award, Madame Marie Curie Award for Lifetime Achievement in the Advancement of Medicine via Science involving myofunctional therapy. So Giedre Berchin Felix is a professor at University of Sao Paulo, Bauru, which is one of the leading I think institutions in the world for orofacial pain, for sciences, for craniofacial surgery, and for myofunctional therapy. Thank you very much, Giedre, for your contribution with not only a half-day workshop, 3 presentations on groundbreaking subjects in 2 different tracks, and a lot of wonderful participation. So thank you for your vision and leadership, Giedre Berchin Felix.
My pleasure. Thank you a lot for this amazing opportunity to learn with you and other professionals around the world who are studying and researching a lot. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, I will talk about the myofunctional therapy and trying to answer the 3 questions that we have to talk about today. And we know a lot of anatomical and physiological aspects of the stomatokinetic system, especially because of the advance in the instrumental exams. And we also know a lot about the cause and effects relationship, the relationship between morphological characteristics of the stomatokinetic system and orofacial functions. Then we can know if the patient presents a disorder or an adaptation. It is very, very important. We'll also learn a lot about the validation of the oromyofunctional assessment and about protocols. I talked about one of these protocols, but we have more of them. We have general protocols, and we have protocols adapted to elderly, to patients with apnea or cleft palate. Then we learn about this in our researches in Brazil, and some of these topics was presented in this Congress. Also, we learn about new professional practice areas, not only in the dentistry area, as like the temporomandibular disorders or oral rehabilitations, orthodontic surgery, but also about the apnea, the assessment of the tongue tie to identify tongue tie, and we have new areas to spread. For example, about patients undergo to the bariatric surgery. And where we are going, it's very, very important to understand better the exercise physiology applied to orofacial myofunctional disorders to prove the efficacy of the myofunctional therapy program, because we have to understand better the the organization of the oral functions in the brain, the neuromuscular memory, and in order to provide better programs and to prove the efficacy of the myofunctional therapy. This is, we are working with muscle exercises and with the functions of breathing, swallowing, chewing, and speech. And our role is very, very important. This is my short presentation. Many, many thanks.
Thank you so much, Yedra. You know what is so wonderful is that you bring us all to the table, and whether you are in France or Japan or Brazil or here in America, we all are looking at the same topics, and that's what's making this really a collective movement forward. And just the way that you did that is so helpful for everyone. So very helpful. Thank you so much. I agree with you. We need a lot more exercise physiology understanding so that we can really tailor these exercises and get them pinpointed to serve or the phenotypes of populations. So it's wonderful to have you here.
Muito obrigado, Giedre.
Muito obrigada, muito obrigada. Thank you a lot. Sorry for my Portuguese English.
No, adoro seu português.
Sim, sim.
É ótimo. So I want to welcome our next panelist, Katrina Rogers. So beyond being on our board as an at-large member for the Academy of Applied Myofunctional Sciences, she is also this Congress, Fifth Congress Congress Secretary, and she's the recipient of Winston Churchill Memorial Trust Fellowship, a Queen's Charity, with her remit to explore how to put myofunctional therapy into the National Health Service, the NHS of the UK. Thank you very much, Katrina.
Thanks.
What did we know? What did we learn? And where are we going?
So, thank you for inviting me to the panel. It's been an extraordinary journey to support the AAMS, to be secretary, and for me, being secretary, I've connected with so many of the speakers, which has just improved my thinking around this topic. I work with predominantly children, but also adults. And in my clinical work, for me, myofunctional therapy works. It changes people's lives. Having connected with so many speakers, I've had opportunity to learn about the diversity of the work extensively, and having done part of my Winston Churchill project to connect with people in action. So seeing work live, connecting with patients and learning from them. And actually, I think to join with Yedra, we know this works, but specifically we need to pinpoint and drill down actually which bits are effective, and to recognize the phenotypes, and also to connect the dots. So to think about, for me, working within the field of dysphagia, but also listening to our patients and thinking about what other difficulties are there that are connected to the stomatognathic system, affecting sleep, affecting breathing. And just today I was working with a little boy who I've been treating, who has dysphagia and poor speech. He has a significant tongue tie, and his mum, having put into practice many of the exercises, his behaviour, his attention's changed alongside his eating and drinking. So, you know, interfacing in that way. But for the mum, she wasn't aware of that when she met me. She wasn't aware of the power of this work. So I have been very keen to push this forwards into the National Health Service, and I feel that we need to spread the message out there, to share about the successes, to share about the specific markers of where this work can really support our patients and improve health. And we're really looking at the whole age range from naught to older people, to connect with them. And it's just been a joy to learn from all of you and brilliant speakers. So what I would say is that we do need to think about multidisciplinary team working. We need to think about sharing with our patients, exposing our work, so that we can prevent as well as treat. Yeah, that's what I would say. But thank you so much for inviting me and to allow for me to contribute to the Congress. It's just been a joy. Hard work, but a joy.
For your hard work. I know how hard it is, because these are jobs that are done after you have a full day with PPE and seeing patients. And, you know, your dedication and getting everything going, it's that propels this forward. So again, Katrina, thank you for everything you've done.
You're welcome.
I know we call you way too much during the day, so we'll stop FaceTiming you every 20 minutes.
It's okay. It's okay. Having 3 jobs during COVID times, it's kept me entertained. But thanks.
Our next panelist I would love to introduce is Virginia Johnson, who is a doctor of osteopathy, osteopathic medicine, a professor, a teacher, a lecturer, and of course a clinician. She sees a wide spectrum of ages. Katrina was just talking about the lifespan, and it's just fascinating that this really does fit in from many disciplines across the lifespan. And Virginia, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you, and also your focus and interest in the tongue and how the tongue propelled you to the creation of a thesis, which you delivered here, and understanding the lymphatic component of the tongue and what the tongue does as a pump and as an organ for the rest of the body. So thank you for your presentation. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely need to see her presentation. It's an osteopathic perspective on the function of the tongue and how it moves fluids through the body, which is really ever important. So thank you, Virginia. What did we learn?
Thank you.
Where are we going?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Samantha, and Mark for putting together this amazing program, but for beyond that, for the inception of having a whole society, an international society. I have watched this group grow from what I'm going to call a moment of frustration into this absolutely wonderful world-class international organization that has pulled together so many wonderful people outstanding researchers, outstanding clinicians. I think you have done a great service to human beings everywhere. This is just marvelous, and I can see it just keeps growing. The knowledge base keeps expanding, and you two really deserve a lot of credit for this because you're pulling it all together and making it happen. So where, what do we know? What did we learn? We're not just really talking about a mouth or a tongue. I mean, we're talking about a whole dynamic system of the human being. And we're looking at root causes of so many very distressing and puzzling diseases, suffering that people go through. I was happy to see in this conference that the question of obesity came in. I think the approach has always been backwards. Usually the obese patient is told to lose the weight and their sleep apnea will help them, and maybe they'll get some support with a CPAP. But the underlying functional problem that caused or led them to the obesity is not addressed. And I think we have a lot of people that give up because they're not being allowed to address the underlying root causes of problems. And it's a problem that spirals, the tongue tie, the exhaustion, the apnea that results from it. They're looking for energy, they overeat, and they don't have the energy to exercise. And, right off, I can think of a young man. He's a new father who had gained a lot of weight and so frustrated that, he couldn't lose the weight and was hard on himself. And once he had the oral dysfunction addressed, he automatically began sleeping better and having the energy to exercise, and the weight came under control. So I was so happy to see that. It's so much more than dental or sleep pathology, which are of course very important in and of themselves. But from my own experience in my clinics, as I see children that have chronic immune problems, the frequent colds, the sinus problems, the allergies, which then escalates the chronic tonsillitis, and then there's the sleep problem, and then they show up with attention deficit disorder problems. This is such a critical piece of healthcare, and it certainly deserves to be expanded. Where is it going? Is I think we're removing a lot of the silos. We're breaking down a lot of barriers in medicine. That systems shouldn't be put into boxes. It's not a pulmonary problem. It's not a digestive problem. It's a whole body functional problem. It transcends the traditional boundaries. So where are we going? Is I think we're just going to continue to look at the body more from functional physiology and pathophysiology, looking for causes of problems rather than treating symptoms. So, you guys are on the way, and you're taking us forward to the future. I really appreciate it.
Really wonderful, and it really is a dynamic human body, but also this collective is such a dynamic group because we're learning and advancing together. We would not be here without you. That is just the essence of how the AAMS is moving forward. The interest is growing. We can provide curated events, but it's really the clinicians and the public that's really driving this forward. And the insights you bring to this, Virginia, are so true. The public health crisis of obesity and looking at these root problems, it's just, it's something that is really infiltrating every culture, not just first world countries anymore. So thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for really helping the babies and everyone after age 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and beyond. So again, you're rocking it. Thanks. You wanted to introduce Brian?
No, Eyal.
Oh, next, I'm very happy to introduce Eyal Botzer, who, if you have not been able to join any of our events, he's really dedicated his life to helping babies and mothers and the dyad, and with over 20,000 actual Freenome release procedures, I think he ranks as one of the highest provider in the world. And Eyal, as a pediatric dentist, you have really been on this bandwagon early on. I know early in 2000 and even before that, your participation with tongue tie and associations to advance the knowledge has really been something that you've been so passionate about. So Eyal, from your perspective in Tel Aviv, you're joining us here from Israel. We would love to know where you think we are, what did we learn, and where is this going?
So thank you again and again and again for all what you are doing during this crazy 2 months. Don't know how much sleep did you have during this time. Well, what I've learned here a lot from all my friends, that even in the field that I have a lot of experience in, not that 20,000 frenotomies is the record and there's any fight over who's done more than the other. The fact is that we see a lot of patients, and a lot of patients are looking for us because they have problems. I've learned from each and every provider in the section of tongue tie, because everyone have developed their own unique observation and their own unique technique and way of looking, and it's great to learn from them. The fact that each and every one of us has so much more to learn. This is, I think it's a phase in the development of a physician. The more you know, the more you know that you don't know anything. So research is the thing that we are missing, and there is a lot of place for research. And where we are going by, I think, conquering the hearts of many other professionals that even had a bite from this meeting and understand, and sometimes they have their own personal cases and they see that, hey, this explains something to me that I've always been hearing about or looking, observing, and it didn't really click. And now let's go to this venue and understand it even deeper. So we have a long way to go, but you have done a great way so far. So thank you, and let's keep learning.
Thank you very much, Eyal. It's amazing to be on this journey with you. I remember we were renting a house when we were doing a little residency at Ichilov and University of Tel Aviv last year. I'm sorry that COVID prevented us from coming back again this year, but I loved staying in that area right off of Rothschild and Tel Aviv, non-stop city, 24-hour city. Woohoo! We love Tel Aviv.
Now we are under lockdown.
My son Nico said he became friends with the waves there. So it was a beautiful place and a beautiful center and a lot of really great things. And if you ever have Eyal over to your house, you get some good ingredients. He'll teach you how to make tahini, hummus. He just can't help it. He breaks it out. You just like pulls it out. If it's around, the ingredients are out, just boom, it's happening.
Come again.
Okay, thank you. But I want to introduce our next panelist, Brian Krohn. It's been really exciting to begin this dialogue in the last year with Brian and his project. We had a technology forum. We've had several people speak about gamification, or how do we scale up, or how do we apply technology. When we realize the scope of the public health crisis we're in with myofunctional disorders, it becomes, with so few people trained, even, in terms of public awareness, it's going to start skyrocketing. You heard the numbers about millions of page views, hundreds of thousands of people watching our fora. We're going to have to figure out a way to scale this up. And, it's great to have bright people like Brian Krohn, others around the world, Harold, who we'll hear from next, Carlos, Reno O'Connor, or O'Connor Reno, rather, and some others around the world. Thank you for coming on, Brian. What do we know? What did we learn? And where are we going?
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. And Mark and Samantha, both excellent job on this very successful virtual Congress. Really appreciate all the work that you and the whole team have put into making this happen. So what do we know? I think that myofunctional therapy works. I mean, we've heard that across the panels. That was, and just kind of reiterating that. Right? And, you know, what did we learn? What I learned from all these panels is just all of the amazing research that's going on across all these different disciplines. And you're starting to hone in, I think Katrina mentioned this, honing in on, you know, what are the phenotypes and what are the specifics, exercises and things that work most effectively. So we know it works, but now it's what is most effective. And there's just lots of really good research going on to answer that question. And then, you know, what's next is, like Mark said, it's bringing this to the masses. You know, it's when you find out, like, can identify what somebody's problem is and what's going to work best for them. Then how do you deliver that, not just in a clinical setting, but at scale to the world? And I think it's moving in a really exciting direction.
Very much, Brian. We look really forward to the impact technology will have in research, in phenotyping, in clinical application. And Licha mentioned this term in one of our panels, democratization of access to care. Thank you. It's a real privilege to welcome our next panelist, who I'm glad wasn't called into emergency surgery, which was maybe going to happen today. Harold Trebo-Strom. Funny thing, we had for our institute, the AOMT, we had a kickoff little wine and cheese reception sponsored by the World Sleep Society at the World Sleep Congress in Vancouver last year. And I think he was already following myofunctional therapy, and he saw the sign. It was near the registration desk, and he's like, he wandered in. I was like, welcome. And it's been just so great, you know, to get to know him. He invited me to University of Oslo and Oscar Hoos University Hospital and the Norwegian Sleep Society. We had some meetings in front of their research team there. They're doing such tremendous work at University of Oslo and in Norway and in these consortia that they're building across Scandinavia. We're really excited what you and your team will be delivering in the future, Harold. And what do we know? What did we learn, and where are we going today?
Thank you, Mark, for this wonderful introduction. I just also want to thank you and all of the organizers, Katrina, and in particular, maybe the graphical designer. This Congress has been filled with so many beautiful artworks. And this heart behind me, it's even for me as an ENT doctor, it looks more like a throat with a uvula than a heart, but I'm probably a bit biased. But to answer the questions, I think that all of us in this forum, all of the listeners here, we know that OMT works. However, it's a large number of clinicians, doctors, scientists out there that don't believe that this works. And that's a big challenge. I just finished my attendance at the ESRS Congress, the European Sleep Research Society, and it was very little about the orofacial myofunctional therapy. And even when I tried to discuss it in the panels and in the discussion rooms, these questions were mostly not answered by the senior sleep researchers. So we really have a challenge to make good research and to get this out to also the clinicians. And to answer what I learned so much, so it's hard to pinpoint some specific things, but I must confess that before this Congress, I was quite skeptical to the importance of a tongue tie. And during this Congress, I have been more convinced, especially regarding the importance for breastfeeding and feeding in early childhood. And that has made a concrete change in my priorities as an ENT senior consultant. So now in my department, we give higher priority to these children because of this Congress. And I think that's a good thing. I also learned a lot about really exciting new technology, like Brian's product and Carlos Economia, and also the Parrot and the IOP. So I really look forward to try to network these kind of new technology into some joint collaboration. And I also, the final thing I want to emphasize is that there is a debate about standardized orofacial myofunctional therapy versus the personalized thing. Because me as a researcher, I want to do things standardized, in order to assess the effect. But of course, a lot of speech language therapists that are out there, they say that every patient should have their own tailored intervention, and that's a very hard thing in research. So I hope that in the future that we're making fantastic randomized controlled trials together. I hope that we will be able to make a tech collaboration that will manage to do personal security in a good way, and also that we make standardizations that make it possible for us to collaborate between different innovations. So thank you very much, and I look forward to see you in person in the next event.
I look forward to meeting you too in person. I've heard so much.
We met in Vancouver.
We met in Vancouver.
So briefly.
And
Not enough.
I think we're so excited to go back to Norway, and we were hoping to maybe come by this year with some coursework, but I think there's going to be some exciting things. I also appreciated your colleague Peter and the technology platform. We have some really exciting opportunities. We're going to have some announcements. For instance, we have a foundation that we're registering in the very near future. It's called the Patient-Centered Outcomes Foundation. And we have two different arms that we're in design phase around this. It's called myomd.org. And we have omdinfo.org. So there will be patient-centered groups where we can hopefully have these patients realize that they own their own data, they control this, and we can collect some really interesting information. And we look forward to this Norwegian-led consortium, and we're really excited about it. And there's some really great things coming out of the European Union as well, with this cloud, this sleep cloud kind of group, and Horizon 2020 funds, and we're really excited about things coming from Europe. And furthermore, in terms of the ESRS, thank you for mentioning that. You know, I've participated in and been a member of the ESRS, and you know, I think a little bit like our American Academy of Sleep Medicine. You know, there are these kind of gold standards, you know, which there's a lot of investment in the business model and, you know, the clinical model around the lab or the scoring and this architecture of the algorithm that's used in the triage. And, you know, when you're talking about, you know, precision medicine and standardization, and, you know, that's such an important dichotomy when you're looking at research. But when you're looking at these, you know, major international or national organizations where they're large ships, I think we need, as an academy, to look how can we, you know, offer fruit and continue to engage and impact. And we're so lucky that we've had such welcome outreach from other international bodies like the World Sleep Society. We have some great announcements coming up where we're going to be partnering in several meetings with them. Coming up in Rome in 2022 and in Brazil in 2023. And there's going to be some other opportunities to discuss some crossover. So stay tuned. In just about 20 minutes, we'll start our closing ceremony. But there are a couple of other people we want to say hello to. I see Shannon Sullivan is joined us. Thank you, Shannon. Are you able to come on with your camera? Is your bandwidth a little low where you're at? Can we hear you?
I'm happy to join you. I'm so sorry I can't get up my virtual background, but if you don't mind.
Oh, that's okay. So Shannon has contributed so much to this Congress and been such a wonderful advocate. Just a little anecdote from her. about her. You know, while being a leader in sleep medicine and pediatric and pulmonary care at Stanford, and also in their fellowship, she took it upon herself to do a sabbatical at University of Rome Sapienza and Ospedale Sant'Andrea, where you know, they've been working with myofunctional therapy for a number of years, you know, to kind of continue her personal investigation and journey and mission. So she's a great advocate for children's issues and a great scientist. Thank you for coming in. And what do we know? What did we learn? And where are we going?
Well, I just want to say a quick word of thanks to everybody on this call, but especially to Samantha and Mark. This has been an incredible journey and an incredible example of the importance of collaboration. So both personally, as you mentioned, being able to reach out to colleagues in other centers in other countries and learning about being able to learn how to deploy these types of ideas in practice and then bring those back home has been important clinically. But the discussion you were just having really speaks to the importance of being able to reach across different professional societies and organizations to really be able to move this field forward. So thank you again. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Shannon. I think that's exciting to think about, you know, collaboration, strategic engagement and alignment with different bodies, scientific bodies, clinical bodies, and academies around the world. I think those are so important strategically. And it's been a real kind of strategic emphasis for the AAMS in its little short time on the planet. We have a couple of other people. I see my mother, and you know, in order to be a good boy, we have the Jewish holidays right now. You know, it's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur starts. You know, I love you, Mom. Anyone out there in the world who I may have stepped on their toes or caused anyone any upset, please forgive me. Yom Kippur starts tomorrow night at sundown. Mom, is there what do we know? Joy Moeller, what have we learned and where are we going?
So the biggest thing I think I learned is that after 40 years of doing this, it's actually happening. And I feel the support of all of these professionals that are not throwing rotten eggs at me anymore and just accepting this as a legitimate, amazing treatment that can help so many millions of people, especially with early intervention with infants and all the way up, because the horror of seeing patients every day that have been mutilated and medicated, over-medicated and over-surgerized, and then to think that we are getting closer to a legitimate solution to prevent this problem is just beyond my wildest imagination. And thank you, Mark and Samantha, so much for this. So the biggest thing I've learned is that it's happening and it's exploding. Thank you.
Well, I want to give a collective thank you to everyone here. We are going to just rock it in 15 minutes from now. I hope everyone takes a little break, maybe a little wardrobe change. We've had a call for black tie optional at our closing ceremony. We have Darius Logmani who's joined us. Darius, you want to say something about, he's the director of sleep at Advocate Health Systems, the largest private health system in the US with about 40 hospitals and about 3,000 clinics. Darius, what have we learned and where are we going from here?
We learned that I'm standing between people and their break. So I'm going to keep this real tight. I think the thing that has become really obvious is there are strong relationships and a lot of enthusiasm for everybody that joins in answering the questions that we've identified in these spaces. So spaces like this where people can meet each other, identify common questions, and collaborate. I think everybody that comes into these spaces feels that enthusiasm and that energy. I mean, I met Brian Crone last week. We submitted a grant yesterday. So I mean, these are things that, like, it just always happens. So we're grateful for these spaces, and the more that we can identify, we come together to answer questions, and instead of trying to argue about technique, the more we'll find that there's room for everybody, right? So we're grateful that you create this space with this energy and and just this kind of environment of collaboration and enthusiasm. So thank you guys for including me.
That is so awesome to hear. I love that. Cross the aisle, connecting. And if you're just joining the Congress, let us remind you, while the viewing is going to continue for members, you can become a member and stay with the AAMS and watch these incredible presentations, because I can just tell you right now, you will learn so much. Even if you are at the top of your game, there's always something new from a different perspective and a different person bringing in that information. So I want to say thank you to everyone here. Thank you to the AAMS. Thank you to the membership. We're going to take a brief break, and then at the top of the hour, please come back. We have important announcements, and we're also going to talk about how you can get your CEUs, and also any other things?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the 6th AAMS Congress, which will take place.
Just cliffhanger.
Oh,
Let them
cliffhanger.
come back for the
Well,
information.
you know, they'll learn more. It's called Virtual Beyond. A hybrid. We have 10 cities with live symposia already confirmed, and we will have even a bigger offering August 1st to October 1st of 2021. So join us for more details. Great Lifetime Achievement Award for Shelley Marmette, the woman. She's kind of like my aunt, so in full disclosure, but
She is.
she's conceived of and helped create the field of lactation consulting, as well as their international board. And Jean Dallaire, just a remarkable human being, a visionary leader. We have a new award in his name. He's 97 years old. And we have awesome, exciting other news. So, like the founding of a new society that just got registered in Geneva 2 days ago. Nope, 3 days ago. Anyway, so stay tuned. I'll see you in 10 minutes or so. Yep,
Top of the hour.
13
we'll see you.
minutes.
And please, we want to see you. If you're going to get dressed up, take a little shot of yourself, because we're going to include it in the closing video.
Post it on Facebook.
Please, we're asking you. Just take a little shot of yourself. It's really energizing and everyone loves it. So,
www.facebook.com/AAMS info.
okay. See you soon, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.